Dang it! Yeah! Alright boys, Dirt Obsession Comparison Day. 2019 Outlander 1000R, 2018 Polaris Sportsman XP1000. We're going to line these babies up head to head, see who's the victor in multiple different categories. We're going to compare EPS, we're going to compare the plastics, we're going to compare the overall ride, we're going to compare all-wheel drive versus the four-wheel drive Visco lock. We got a lot of action coming today. Hopefully we can pack it all into one video. A couple things we want to point out right away. On the Outlander, the stock ITP Terracross tires are a much better stock tire versus the CSTs that come on the Sportsman. For a four-wheeler north of 10 grand, I think it's reasonable to expect a decent stock tire, and Can-Am definitely wins in this department. Another thing you get on the Outlander is the 2-inch hitch receiver. Four-wheeler this size with north of 1,500 pounds towing capacity. 2-inch receiver really makes a lot of sense, and again, Can-Am for the win on that one. Alright guys, quick trail update for you. We have been running up some slick, nasty hills. It was a rainy day last night. Mud everywhere out here at Blue Holler. We're doing some slick rock crawls. To be perfectly honest, we're trying to find a situation where the Visco lock will give us something negative or positive to compare to the Sportsman. But the truth is, both of these machines are handling absolutely every obstacle we've encountered perfectly. We couldn't ask for anything more from either machine. No issues with the Visco lock. It has been hooking up and going. No issue with the all-wheel drive from the Sportsman. It's been hooking up and going. Neck and neck at this point. After thinking this one over, we're going to have to give the win to the Sportsman on this. You can select all-wheel drive on the fly. You got to slow to basically a crawl on the Outlander before you can switch in four-wheel drive. Eventually, we were able to trip up the Visco lock. In all fairness, we were trying to do it. But as you can see, if Brian's left front tire would have continued to pull, he would have popped over that log just fine. And when it does hook up, he hops right over it.
Both front tires pulling?
Yeah. So one difference we can talk about at this point is the electronic power steering. The biggest difference between these two machines is that the electronic power steering on the Outlander has the 3 mode, which selects where you would expect the reverse overdrive to be, and then the Sportsman has the EPS that doesn't change at all in any conditions. To me, the Sportsman's EPS is very, very good at slow speeds, but once you get going a little bit faster, it's a bit too much. It doesn't taper down like some of the other machines do.
On the Outlander, so I've actually put it to the max setting, and what I love about it, you get the gnarly tight stuff, and it's very easy to move around, maneuver. But then, like I said, once you start getting going a little bit better, I can just hit the little thumb button and bring it back down to the medium setting that I usually like when I'm going a little bit faster. But yeah, I mean, right now I'm really digging the 3 different positions that you can have. And the max is very, very, very good in the situations that we're in today.
All right, flying Brian, tell us about the throttle, the difference in the different modes on the Outlander.
You've got work mode, standard, and sport. I was wanting to ride around in standard because Chad had told me before that standard on the XP is about equivalent to what the Grizz was. But the thing about the Outlander, and maybe it's going to take me some time to get used to, but if you're in standard mode, about half throttle, you're just kind of, yeah. We got on some hills earlier, and I was wanting a little bit more. Once you go past, and it might be a third the way, but once you get past halfway, it goes from nothing to all at once downright crazy, and almost got me in some situations, so it's not very predictable at all. We've been ripping a little bit, and I've just been keeping it in sport mode, and I think I may just keep it in sport mode. Just
much more predictable in sport mode.
More predictable. I mean, you know what you have at every position of the throttle. Where standard mode, like I said, it was kind of dead.
And the push from start to full throttle on the Outlander is much longer than what you would expect it would be.
Very, very long.
Longer than typical. We're not going to measure it anything. You're going to have to take our word for it. But from no throttle to all the way through full throttle, it's almost illogically far to push your thumb.
Yeah. It's almost to the point where you have to reposition your hand to get the other bit of throttle that you want. And like I said, I mean, maybe it's just me having to get used to it. But Chad rides a whole lot in standard mode or normal mode just because it is so much more predictable. But this thing, I almost feel, I hate to say it, but unsafe in the standard mode. So
the standard mode on the Sportsman feels much more natural. You can't hardly tell it's a drive-by-wire throttle system. The delivery is smooth all the way through, like it would be throttle connected to a cable instead of throttle connected to computer. So trail riding, I typically keep it in standard because you got everything available to you, but you have a little bit more control over how it gets there. When you put it in performance, it's just letting her eat as soon as you touch the throttle. Womp, womp, womp. Front end wants to fly up. I would say performance mode is a little bit more tame on the Outlander, but still high performance. It's not as wildly impactful as soon as you stab it, but is definitely more significant in performance mode, and like Brian said, a lot more predictable. Alright guys, so we're going to do a ride update. Brian's been riding both wheelers. He's been on the Outlander all day. Just took the Sportsman for a rip. What are you thinking?
First off, setting on it, I don't know, I got to the point where I thought the Audi was comfortable. The seat on the Sportsman feels like a worn out couch that you just want to cuddle up on and take a nap. I was in performance mode. Very, very, very smooth, linear. I think the Audi might have a little bit more butt on the takeoff.
I agree.
But the suspension, everything, it's just so plush. It's just, I don't know. I mean,
on the Sportsman.
On the Sportsman, yes.
The ride is a little bit stiffer on the Outlander.
The Outlander is definitely a lot stiffer. But the XP, I think you could literally run over a log running 50 miles an hour and not even know it's there. But that thing is so easy to get squirrely if you want to. It seems like it weighs 500 pounds less than the Outlander.
It does.
Just a little bit of a flick of the old rump.
And that might be seat height, it might be width in the middle, but it definitely feels like you can flick the Sportsman around a little bit better. Again, not a knock, because the clutch is definitely easier to get to on the Outlander. So Polaris has they put their clutch behind the motor. It's a little bit more traditional. On the Outlander, you've got the side cover with the clutch. It's kind of easier to get to if you ever needed to make quick trail maintenance, but it definitely changes things as far as seat width. I don't know how well it'll show up on camera, but the Outlander definitely sits up higher, and it's definitely a lot beefier in the seat. It feels like you're sitting up on top of this four-wheeler, whereas the Sportsman is the rider position is a little bit more tucked inside, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, with the XP, it feels more like a crotch rocket feel. Does that make sense? A sport bike.
I would agree.
Slender.
This bike feels more sportier to ride. This one feels more utility four-wheeler, but this one definitely has more ass. We're gonna go line them up and rip them down the track a couple times. that wraps up a full day riding out here at Blue Holler, here in the Sportsman XP1000 to the Outlander 1000R. Gotta say, we still aren't convinced that one of these machines is better than the other. Definitely different machines, different rides, different expectations that you have for the machines. We lined them up against each other, best out of 3. The Outlander beat the Sportsman every single time. I'm not going to make any excuses for the Sportsman. He beat me fair and square. She rips.
Very happy with it. One thing I can say, the biggest difference is the ride quality. The Audi's a little bit stiffer. I'm going to take it as if it's stiffer for cornering. But another big thing too, I'm on tank number 2 on my fuel, and I think Chad used 2 or 3 bars today.
Not quite half the tank. I'm a little under 3/4 of the tank. You're just under half?
I'm a little under half, and right at 30 miles. My first tank of gas, I got 39 miles out of it. So we're really hoping that does change.
Yeah, right now fuel efficiency is definitely a lot better on the Sportsman. It holds more gas. I'm going to have to look that up, post it on the screen for the size of the tanks. That's definitely something to consider if you ride by yourself and you get out there a little bit. All in all, they're both incredible machines. The Sportsman definitely wins on comfort and, in my opinion, the ergonomics. The Outlander definitely wins on power. Brian pulled on me every single time we lined them up. But all in all, 2 great machines. Can't go wrong with either one.
Very happy so far. More to come.
God. Okay.
You're crazy. You do realize we gotta go back up that hill.